It is probably best to say that I'm an emotionally broken person, and that's why I can't connect to things that require some sort of emotional reaction.
That's
art
not
and
true.
Poetry included. But I believe the connection one can make to art is rooted in some degree of emotional well-being.
Agreed.
Having them or experiencing them or,
Yeah.
So I don't mean like every reaction. If you feel something about art... or even realize what it's supposed to be. I'm not saying that's an emotional reaction. I'm saying the ability to have that seems rooted in having emotional, if not health, then having them.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between between me and people who get art. Welcome once again to Noah Snark, where two former religious types and current snarks take a look at religious media on its own terms.
My name is Hillary.
And I am Josh, a.k.a. Mr. Potato Head.
I like that. You look like Mr. Potato Head.
Do I?
Right now you do to me.
Cool. Hillary.
Yeah?
What are we doing today? This should be the point at which I insert the record scratch, because, as you can tell by the title of this episode, we have to disappoint you today, because our God's Not Dead episode ended up sounding like we were underwater. We already had a previous one of those with our Jesus Christ RPG, sorry about that, and so we had to correct it by re-recording it entirely. That said, we already had this one for you, so you get VeggieTales today, but... God's Not Dead, the movie, will follow next week. And then we will follow it up immediately with God's Not Dead 2. Sound good? I hope it's good. It's just going to be so good.
Josh, we are doing VeggieTales.
And even better.
Stoked.
And even better, we're starting at the very beginning because it's VeggieTales and it deserves nothing less.
Yeah, I fucking love VeggieTales. And this is actually a moment in history for our podcast where it's something that I have seen and you had not.
That's true. I have never seen this before.
Both of the episodes you sent me, I had already seen before.
Well, they are the very first ones. That's why I say we're starting at the beginning. This is the first VeggieTales episodes to ever exist.
Yes, I definitely watched these on a VHS.
These were VHS rips.
Yeah.
That I got on YouTube.
I know. It was great. I remembered all the songs and everything. It's crazy.
So we're doing 2 episodes today. As I said before, the very first ones, they are called Where's God When I'm Scared? And God Wants Me to Forgive Them? With lots of exclamation points and question marks.
Yes.
They're about half an hour each, but they are chocked full of vitamins and minerals.
It's true.
Get it?
I do.
Vegetables.
Jokes. Oh, man. It's going to be great for you. Dad veggie humor.
Dad veggie humor. Is it weird to have dad humor when you're not a dad? And have absolutely no interest in being one? It is weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so uninterested.
Everyone is. Wait, everyone in this room is.
Yes. Including the cat that's on your lap. Alright, so as always, we want to begin with first impressions. These are a little bit different for you since you've seen it, but how did you feel going in?
Joy. Joyful.
Pure joy.
Just pure joy. I love the opening song. I love the characters. I love it. It was delightful. Yeah.
I have, obviously, less of a connection to VeggieTales. I've never seen it.
Right.
I've heard about it. It wasn't like it was new to me. But I just never seen it. Because my parents, despite their occasional foray into weird religious fundamentalism, were never like, you can only watch religious stuff.
Oh, I never owned any of this. This was all at my best friend's house because of her little sister. Yeah. I did a lot of babysitting.
So I had a friend whose parents were really religious when I was young.
Yeah.
But he would come to my house because he could play violent video games at my place. We had Mortal Kombat, we had Streets of Rage, we had whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas the most violent game he ever got was Star Wars.
Oof, yeah.
Like Super Star Wars, like that crazy hard one.
Yeah. Just stormtroopers shooting around you.
Yeah, but he had no, like, if there was punching or blood or anything involved, he wasn't able to play it.
Yeah.
So he would come to my place, so I never had to, like, hang out at his place and watch whatever
stupid
stuff his mom let him do. And that's it.
Yeah. Also, if you recall It was Wow. Yeah, the Wow CD compilation that we did earlier.
Yes, there was a VeggieTales song.
There was a VeggieTales song on that, and that might have been the first VeggieTales song that I heard, potentially. I'm not sure.
That was not a good start for me. That's true.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Because that was the first one I'd ever heard, and as we know,
you
on the episode, I did not like that song. I just thought it was... I'm not upset with a goofy song.
Right.
We liked You Are the Devil and the Devil is Bad.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't funny, and it was really longer than it needed to be. And it was just like, no.
It was funny to kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's important to note.
So we'll see what happens as we go through this.
Let's see. I am very curious as to how you feel about any of this.
So we begin the VeggieTales very first episode with Larry being told that it's time for the theme song. It's just credits at this point, so you don't see them.
Right, you just hear their voices off.
Hey, Larry?
Yeah, Bob is asking Larry, or telling Larry that it's time for the theme song.
He's instructed by Bob to play the guitar, but Larry points out that he doesn't have any hands.
Yeah, no arms, no hands.
Because he's a veggie, you see.
He's a cucumber.
But he is then presented with a tuba, which, as we know, clearly doesn't require hands to play at all.
Right, it's just wrapped around his little body.
And he only agrees to play the song after being told that it is for the kids.
Mm-hmm. He's embarrassed.
Right. Now, would you like to do the song?
I'm not going to sing the song.
No?
But it's so fucking good.
If you like to talk to tomatoes, if a squash can make you smile, if you like to waltz with potatoes, up and down the produce aisle.
Have we got a show for you?
That was one take.
It was.
That was good.
I know it was. I can't believe you remembered it. I have it ingrained in my memory.
I wrote it down to make sure I remembered it, but I'm pretty sure I could do it.
But you remembered the tune.
Yeah. I have to confess.
Yeah.
We have only just now gotten started, and I'm slightly charmed by it.
It's so fun. Is it my enthusiasm that's
No. When I saw it myself.
Oh, good. Oh,
yeah.
good.
No, I saw it myself. I was like, okay, that's actually kind of cute. I like it. It is then followed by a longer, less charming version of a theme song.
I like all of it.
VeggieTales.
He goes, VeggieTales, 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 VeggieTales.
Yeah.
And then it does other things.
Yeah, but I was less interested in that one. I really like the...
Cauliflower, sweet and sour, half an hour, VeggieTales.
That was fun, kind of fun.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
When they, do the thing, and VeggieTales.
Yeah.
To start, especially for a beginning, I'm a 30-year-old man.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, I can watch this. This is kind of fun.
Yay! My dreams are coming true.
It's not a horrible start. It's good.
I'm so glad.
But the song does prepare us for what's coming up because they say VeggieTales so many times, and we're watching VeggieTales.
Now we know for sure.
Now we know for sure.
Definitely watching
If you were confused before,
right?
You're watching VeggieTales.
Yes.
All right. We are then properly introduced to Bob the Tomato.
Yes.
And Larry the Cucumber.
Yes.
Who are here to answer our questions.
Yeah, they're basically doing a little viewer mail.
Yeah, which is weird because it's the first episode, so where the viewers come from,
it's
but that's
obviously not for real viewers.
Right. But they get a letter from Lucy, who writes in to ask about the potential monsters in her closet and how they frighten her. Mm-hmm. So Larry and Bob cut away to a story about when Junior Asparagus got a little bit scared once.
I love Junior Asparagus. I think Junior Asparagus has the cutest voice.
Junior Asparagus is, I guess, the third main character.
There's so many.
Okay.
And, in this episode...
And, we only watched 2. I've only seen 2 in my life.
There's the Asparagus family. So there's, Father and Mother Asparagus, and then Junior Asparagus.
Do you mean father or do you mean daddy?
I will walk out of this room. I will knock over your laptop and leave.
Okay, I'm done.
You're allowed to say Papa. Papa Asparagus.
All right, Papa Asparagus.
You get too much joy in my pain.
Yeah, so there's the Asparagus family.
Yes.
But so Junior's not officially the third main character. He's just in these 2 episodes.
Yeah, no, the different characters get. That
makes sense.
Yeah, main bill.
Fair enough. Okay, but Junior in these 2 that we're going to do today, is easily the third most important.
He's common.
person.
He's very common.
Yes. So we open Junior Asparagus' story with watching a Frankenstein-style movie or TV show.
Yeah, it's Frank and Celery.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Because we hear something coming alive, and it begins to speak, and it's got spooky music and everything else. And that's when we find out that Junior Asparagus is watching it instead of experiencing it. Now, he's told by Mom Asparagus to go to bed. But he's hesitant to go up, both because he likes the show that he's watching, and he's getting a little freaked out by all the horror, and he doesn't want to go upstairs.
Right. He won't admit it, but he's scared.
Right. And she points this out. She's like, you seem a little freaked out by that. You should go to bed. And he's like, I'm not freaked out. I just don't want to go upstairs and be by myself.
Yep, very cute.
But he is now in bed, and he insists to himself out loud that he's not scared. It was just big scary monsters. It was a TV show. And Bob and Larry appear in Junior's room and claim to be there to help.
Yep.
And he should be more concerned about this.
He should. Where the hell did they come from?
These are adult vegetables.
Yeah.
Who are in his Junior Asparagus room.
Yeah.
And they're just like, hey, we're here to help you. Don't tell your parents.
Yeah. You seem scared.
You seem scared.
I fucking am now.
You need some cuddles? Never trust adults to come to you for cuddles.
How did they enter the room? Did they just fall from the ceiling or something?
One of them was in the toy chest.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Larry was in the... They actually might have both been in the toy chest and jumped out, which is not a great way to introduce yourself to a
That's right, because they were knocking on the chest when he's already freaked out.
Right.
And they're like, bump, bump, bump. And he's like, oh my god, I gotta die. But no, it's just Bob and Larry.
Yep. Just there to help.
Larry begins to quote a Bible verse to settle Junior down, but it's the wrong one, and he's cut off by Bob. Apparently, Larry's thing is he quotes Bible verses, at least in this first episode.
Well, yeah, the whole show.
Is it? Okay.
It's not just him.
He didn't do it in the second one, but he in this one, he definitely was just spouting off Bibles.
Well, he's like, we're here to help you, there's a story, and then he starts to quote a Bible verse, but that seems like it could correlate, but it's like the birth of Jesus one.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, that's not the right story.
But Bob cuts him off, and Junior continues to claim at this point that he wasn't scared. Okay, maybe a little, but not too much. Mm-hmm. Bob and Larry are here to sing him a song. Let's do this. Leroy. Jenkins. You were lying in bed.
You were lying in your bed.
You were feeling kind of sleepy. But you couldn't close your eyes because the room was getting creepy.
Yeah. I love this song, too.
Were those eyeballs in the closet? Was that Godzilla in the hall? Was that something big and hairy casting shadows in the hall?
On the wall.
On the wall, right. Yeah, Now Your Heart is Beating Like a Drum. It's a whole thing. It's a long song. And I did enjoy this one, too.
It's
I
super
was into
fun.
it.
Yeah, I like when Junior Asparagus sings.
Was he singing this one, too?
Yeah, in the second part, the second half of it, he sings it, yeah.
I didn't write it all down, because why would I write an entire song down?
You don't need to do that. No, there's no reason.
Asked what he's going to do, Junior says that he's going to call the police. But Bob the Tomato says no. And they begin a new song or a continuation of the old song.
Yeah.
God is bigger than the boogeyman. He's bigger than Godzilla or the monsters on TV. Oh, God is bigger than the boogeyman. And he's watching out for you and me.
Yeah.
I don't know why I pointed to me when I said you and you when I said me, but that's fine.
Because we're the same person. Obviously interchangeable.
Now, Junior doesn't fully understand right away, but Bob assures him that he doesn't have to be scared, because God is bigger than any monster. And they tell Junior that God made everything, plants, animals, and people.
Yeah.
And because he loves them and he takes care of them, so he doesn't have to be afraid, because God loves and cares about him, too.
Yeah. I also feel like this is a good time to teach a kid when the right time to call the police is.
That's true. Yeah. Not when you're scared.
Not when you're just scared of monsters in your closet. But maybe when two adult vegetables show up in your bedroom.
If two adults jump out of your toy chest, call the police and leave.
Yes. Yes.
Children, learn your phone number, learn your address.
Yes.
If two men jump out of your toy chest, leave. Two women, in fact, too. Anybody who jumps out of your toy chest is a criminal.
Yeah, there's no reason they should be there.
You should definitely call the police and leave where you are. Just tell them where your address is. And
at the very least, call your dad.
At the very least, call your dad.
Call her out.
Have your dad get a pager?
Yes.
Send him a 911 page. I'm showing my age.
Get a pager. Step 1.
People still have pagers.
Be old. No, they do not.
Does anyone have a pager anymore?
No, why would you have a pager? Your cell phone is a pager, but better.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know.
Junior Asparagus is then further calmed down by the fact that Bob and Larry bring in the actor who played Frankencelery
Yes.
from the earlier show to let him know that it's a show. I'm playing a character. It's not a real thing.
What was his name?
Oh, I don't know what they gave his name as.
No, he was like Carl from Topeka or something.
That sounds right. Yeah. I don't remember what it was, but yeah.
Yeah. It's like, my name's Carl whatever, and I'm from Topeka, Kansas.
I'm just playing a character.
Just pretending to
I'm
be a
called
monster.
Frankencelery. Of course, Bob and Larry could have easily brought in the Frankencelery actor without all of the God stuff to start with it, but the show is VeggieTales, and that's the whole purpose of it.
Right.
And they do bring everything to a nice close by everyone singing God is Bigger song a few more times. It's like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. It does go a little long.
Yes, but Dad comes in after the song is over to tell Junior not to watch the scary show anymore because it scares him. And Junior then explains to Pop Asparagus how God is totally bigger anyway, so he's not scared anymore.
Yeah.
But they do both agree that he shouldn't be watching scary stuff. And Junior falls asleep while singing to himself quietly. God is bigger than the...
And in his little baseball hat, which he always has on, I guess so that we know he's a boy.
Yeah. Now it's time for a silly song with Larry. The part of the show...
songs with Larry.
The part of the show where Larry sings a silly song.
Yes.
This is the Water Buffalo song.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest, the song sucks.
I love it.
Okay.
Because it's stupid.
So this might, because it was a silly song that was on the WoW hit CD.
It was one of his silly songs.
So that might be...
Yeah.
I just don't like the silly songs.
That could be it.
I'm not against VeggieTales, as we know.
Right.
I've enjoyed it mostly so far. But these silly songs are kind of goofy.
They're definitely more for children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's the song about, like, everyone has a water buffalo.
Yours is fast, but mine is slow.
Yeah. Everyone has a water buffalo or something like that.
It's just random, yeah. It's completely random.
But he's cut off by a shrieking lady. Because not everyone does, in fact. Is it?
Mm-hmm. He's like a professor.
But not everyone does, in fact,
Not everybody does have a water buffalo.
Right. And you can't just say that. Are you ready to deal with the letters? Of course not. So he, the professor, does not want to get letters from the audience because they don't have water buffalo. Mm-hmm. So he implores Larry to stop singing the water buffalo song. That's just a brief interlude because now the VeggieTales are on to telling the story of Daniel, but recreated with veggies, of course. Mm-hmm. I initially wrote down, because I knew it was a Bible story going in, I was like, oh boy, here I go. Gotta try to focus.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Usually if someone's telling me a Bible story, I zone all the way out. Because what do I care?
But it's vegetables, and they're fun.
Yeah, no, I wrote that initially, not knowing what was going to happen.
Right.
Turns out the story's pretty engaging, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not incredibly
There's another
boring.
great song in this one.
So, if you don't know the story of Daniel, the king has had a dream, and his wise men are unable to interpret it for him. They do, however, call in Daniel. Is Daniel Larry? Mm-hmm. Daniel is played by Larry the Cucumber, who claims to be gifted by God to do exactly this, that is, dream interpretation.
Yeah.
The wise men think he's crazy. They're the celery guys, right?
They're leeks.
Leeks.
Yeah.
Leeks. The leeks who play the wise men think that he's crazy, but they give him a shot for it anyway. And turns out that Daniel can totally do it, and the king claims enlightenment, and gives Daniel a promotion to second in command.
Yeah, it seems like a lot for a dream interpretation.
They are truncating the story some, so it's very short. Yeah, in the original book of Daniel, he comes in as a dream interpreter, and he basically works his way up. It's still a Bible story, so it's still relatively brief, but he doesn't just work on one dream. But he eventually proves himself, and then he does get his command, or his second in command position. So this isn't that different, they're just making it shorter because they're kids, and why would you need to go through a whole 15-minute spiel about how he...
But I'm glad I know
dreams.
that now, yeah.
The wise men are upset by this new turn of events, and so they plot against Daniel. Oh no, what are we gonna do?
The king likes Daniel more than me and you.
Oh no, what we gonna do?
We gotta get him out of here. Yeah, and then they have this whole series of ideas of how to get rid of Daniel, some of which are a little violent.
Yeah, but the general takeaway is fuck that guy.
Yeah, gotta fucking get rid of this twat.
Daniel sucks! So they decide upon a plan that we don't find out about right now, so we just gotta wait and see. The suspense is killing me.
Mm-hmm.
The next morning, the wise men go to the king on their plot to set Daniel up and report that some people worship other gods rather than the king. They have a solution, which is that anyone who insists on praying to another god rather than the king will be thrown into the lion's den. And that is not a metaphor.
No.
It is a literal lion's den.
Yes. I want to know more about that. Did the lions choose to be there, or did they put
not.
lions there, and the lion's den is just where they're holding lions captive to eat enemies?
I can assure you it is the latter. Like Roman gladiators fighting
Right.
animals and stuff? Same thing.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know this, but the entire world's history of animal rights has not been great.
I know.
We're still not any good at it.
It's not good.
And I say this as a person who eats meat and knows how fucked up it is.
Yep.
Knowing that it could get him in trouble, Daniel continues to pray to the one and only Almighty God. So the wise men quickly come to arrest him, and he is, probably because he's Larry the Cucumber, utterly nonplussed.
Yeah.
He does not care.
No.
He's just like, hey guys, where are we going? Are we going somewhere fun?
Yeah, it's Larry being Larry.
But he is then thrown into the lion's den, where the wise men make a lion pun to him and laugh. Do they, like, try to one-up each other on lion puns?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like the second one tries to make it funny also, but his doesn't really land.
Yeah.
And then the other one makes fun of him for not being good.
Yeah. So an angel calls out to Daniel as he realizes that he's about to be eaten. And he tells him not to worry or fear because he is not alone. God is watching and listening. The wise men celebrate while the king prays to the one and proper God that Daniel is protected. So he wants Daniel to be safe as well, and he prays to Daniel's God to protect him.
He has a bit of a crush on Daniel.
He definitely does.
Yeah.
You interpreted one of my dreams. I hope not harm.
Sit next to me forever.
I want to sit across from you at restaurants.
Yes.
If we're on a double date, I want to sit next to you and we're going to hold hands the whole time. You're Daniel and you're my favorite. So, in the morning, they go to check on Daniel's corpse. And they find that Daniel is just chilling with lions. They even had pizza.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
They're best friends now.
The king sings, "Surely your God is above all men. Now I understand. For even at the bottom of a lion's den, you were in his hand."
Mm-hmm.
This chain of events prompts the king to make worship of Yahweh the official state religion, and the wise men run away as the king realizes they plotted all of this. Bible story end.
Yep.
It was pretty brief, pretty easy.
Yeah. Good.
So we're back now to Bob and Larry narrating, and they go to their computer, QWERTY, to recap the episode. Basically, it ends with, God is looking out for us, so we don't have to be afraid. And Daniel learned the same thing in the lion's den. God made you special and loves you very much. That's it.
Yeah.
Where's God when I'm scared is over.
He's there.
And as far as first episodes for anything, this is pretty solid.
Yeah.
I would ultimately say I liked it.
Yay. Me too.
Yeah.
I was curious whether I would still like it, but I also knew I would.
No surprises
No
there.
surprises there.
But I can confirm you're not an incredible weirdo. It has some charm. A lot of charm.
It has a lot of charm. It's also pretty impressive, the animation, for being as rudimentary as it is.
Yeah.
It's 1994.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
It's not.
I mean, yeah, like you said, it's very rudimentary. It's computer graphic generated.
Right.
But there's nothing I'm like, oh, that could have been done better.
Yeah. It's not, not like a lot of the old, not the old computer generated animations.
What's that game? That show, Robotech?
I don't know. I never watched. I don't know that. Yeah,
Boy.
no, I'm like, this looks like it was somebody's senior project at, like, art school. It's barely pieced together.
Onward to the next episode, the second of all time. God wants me to forgive them?
Yep.
We're back to the original intro. You know, if you like to talk to tomatoes.
Yeah. I mean, you know it, you love it.
You know it, you love it, it's great. Go back and listen to it, because it's a good song. It's really fun.
It is.
Our subject of the day is presented through more questions from the supposed audience.
Mm-hmm.
Bob the Tomato has bumped into Marco, who questions why he is supposed to forgive his baby sister when she does something that makes him mad. So Larry is going to tell the story of the grapes of wrath.
Yes.
Which he explains is about some very cranky grapes.
Yes.
Before Bob cuts him off and says, I don't think this is the same story.
Sure it is.
Sure it is. And Larry tells Bob not to interrupt his story. So we get to the right and proper story about the grapes of wrath.
Right. Which is cranky grapes.
Cranky Grapes. A family of green grapes travel through town in a Beverly Hillbillies style car.
Yes.
And sing their intro song about being the grapes of wrath, so get out of their way.
Yeah. This is a fine song.
I was going to say, I didn't like the song.
I don't like this song.
But basically it explains that they're quite ornery and they're quite cranky.
Yeah.
And they give 0 fucks. Do you hear me?
They're fucking fine with it.
They're fine with it.
Yeah. They're all real hick. They got a
yeah,
strong, except for the
super,
father, who is an old Jew.
Yeah, this is super Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah.
They've got the crazy, like, Model T looking car.
Yeah, but
the
father sounds like a Jewish man from New York. He's like a New York.
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah, I love him.
The grapes of wrath hit a bump in the road, and the two wrath kids blame and insult each other with "you big possum head" and "you taco salad rabbit nose." And the dad goes, "What is his old New York Jew voice?" Yeah, Rose, the girl wrath, is told to apologize because she called him a boy, and he's a man because he just turned 18. So he goes, "You apologize to your brother."
Yeah. Except for in an old man.
In an old Jewish voice.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it either.
But ultimately, they come across Asparagus Jr., who's playing on his front yard, and conjecture on what he is before concluding that he must be a bean, and he's wearing some cheese on his head, making him a cheese-headed bean boy. And so, yeah,
solid insult.
This is the point this comes up, because they say that the hat he is wearing is yellow.
Because it is.
But I very clearly saw it as pink.
I don't know how you did. I don't know how you saw it as
Please
pink.
pull it up. I'm very curious. Okay.
That's so weird.
So, the good news is...
You're not insane.
I am not colorblind or insane. It's just that in this one scene of this show, me and Hillary can agree
it looked pink.
His hat looked pink. In every other instant of seeing this hat, which I now remember since I went back and watched a couple of them, it does in fact look yellow. It is yellow. They just, in this one episode where it actually comes up, the color of it, it's very clearly pink.
Yes. Okay. No, I'll give that to you. This was not one of those, like, dress moments.
Yes.
Like, is it? Yeah.
I knew he wore a hat. It's just that until this moment when they called it yellow, I didn't notice what color it was.
I think I watched a different version of it too, because like I pulled up which one we were watching on my phone, but then I was watching on my laptop and I couldn't find the exact one that you had sent me.
So it was
So yeah, I think that one might have been fine because it never looked pink to me.
Okay, that's fair. I just remember thinking like that's pink hat, but then never going back to look at it again.
Yeah.
Turning out that it was yellow in the first episode.
Pink cheese, guys.
And even later in this episode, it's yellow.
Yeah. One scene.
That one scene is clearly
That's
pink.
so weird.
Okay, so I'm not insane. I just was confused. And yes, don't eat pink cheese, people.
Yeah.
If you think it's cheese and you think it's pink, just don't bother.
There's no cheese that should be pink.
There's no point in eating that. Junior points out that he is an asparagus, and he's wearing a hat, not cheese.
Mm-hmm.
They insult him further after seeing his asparagus sprout because it looks like peas. And so Junior Asparagus starts to cry.
Oh.
Asparagus Senior comes out among the commotion and explains to the grapes that it makes people feel bad when you call them names, and that God wants us to be kind to everybody. The Wrath clan sees the error of their ways, and they promise to never be mean again. And Junior is told that we need to forgive people when they are mean to you so that everyone feels better.
Yep.
Now it's supper time. That's why Dad came out here in the first place. And the grape kids hear Junior's name, Junior, and they start laughing once again. These are the kids, mostly.
Right. The kids are little bastards.
Right. Junior goes to confront them, but he catches a rake in the face before he falls onto a toy truck, which then falls into a sandbox after plummeting him into the air.
Yeah.
Which only makes the grape kids laugh even harder.
Well, I mean, that was just straight physical comedy. You couldn't not laugh at that.
Yeah, that's true. That's not even their fault.
No, they should laugh while also be like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. That's how you do it nicely, but you're like, that was hilarious.
Daddy Wrath corrects them, and they apologize once more. And Junior argues with Larry the narrator about how he's supposed to do such a thing after they made fun of him again. Because Larry says, and Junior forgave him again. And Junior is like, what?
No, I did not.
Fuck them!
I get it.
But they have a brief argument. Larry explains that God wants us to apologize to him, God, when we do bad things too, and he will always forgive us if we do that.
Yeah, they really drive that home, the whole apologize to God thing. They actually don't really talk about making amends to the people that you hurt, with the exception of, like, talking to the grapes. Mm-hmm. But every other time they mention it, they're like, God will forgive you if you just ask for forgiveness. We're like, what about the people you hurt? Talk to them too. Maybe you should meet it.
They say a couple of times, like, if someone is sincerely apologetic, you have to forgive them.
No, they never say anything about being sincere. They're like, if they say they're sorry, then you have to forgive them. Like, no, you don't.
Yeah, you might be right.
Like, I will forgive them if I think they are actually sorry. Just saying you're sorry means nothing.
Yeah, but the baby grapes do insist they're apologetic this time. Junior is eventually convinced that he should forgive them like God forgives us if we apologize to him. Capital H, him.
Right.
Bob and Larry even consult the computer QWERTY again, and he quotes a Bible verse to say that you should forgive 490 times.
Yeah, they did the math.
They did the math. It's
because
7 times 70.
Right.
The girl...
There's a Bible verse that says that, so It's not just out of nowhere.
It's a Bible verse. You should not forgive just 7 times. You should forgive 7 times 70 times.
Yeah.
Which is good, I guess. And the baby girl grape does the math at 490. And basically, we should forgive each other over and over again, even if you make the same mistakes. Because it's about forgiveness and apologizing, presumably.
You should also probably not hang out with that person anymore.
Yeah, like...
Sounds like they don't really learn.
You know, I have this rule. Yeah. I would go with everyone deserves a second chance.
Yeah.
No one gets a third.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You're twice, fine.
Right.
3 times, it's a pattern, I'm good.
Right. I notice patterns, pay attention to patterns.
Right. But the Grapes of Wrath take the opportunity to change their name to the Grapes of Math. Because little baby girl grape is a mathematical wizard. She can do 7 times 70.
Yeah, and they're not mad anymore, so they can't be the Grapes of Wrath.
That's right. The Grapes of Math head off to share their newfound niceness with the rest of the world. Story 1, over.
Yes. And much better than the book, The Grapes of Wrath, which I hated.
I also read it in high school.
Yep.
Hated it.
Hated it.
Hated it.
I never finished it, actually. It took me an entire summer to read half of it.
Yeah.
Because I fell asleep immediately every time I tried to start reading it again.
You get 3 sentences in, you're like, huh?
This is the worst. Yeah.
We now see an ad from a leak for the brand new Romco Forgive-O-Matic, which forgives on command and comes with a set of steak knives for the low, low price of $19.95. Mm-hmm. Junior Asparagus comes in to tell him that he knows lots of people who have been forgiven without the need for a Forgive-O-Matic. He explains that God says it'll happen, as long as you ask him, and you don't need a Forgive-O-Matic at all.
Right.
Now the leak moves on to the other features that the Forgive-O-Matic can do, like Julianing, because he wants his damn money.
Yeah.
He wants your money, he wants my money, buy the Forgive-O-Matic.
It's an infomercial.
It's an infomercial, it's kind of funny.
It is.
Bob and Larry now talk about the time that they first learned about forgiveness, when they were giving boat tours in this new Gilligan's Island parody story. Larry is Gilligan, and Bob is the skipper. They are joined by the professor and the millionaire's wife. The actress and whatever Marianne was supposed to be didn't show up after all.
Right, they did.
What was Marianne of Gilligan's Island?
Well, what do you mean, what was she?
The professor is the professor.
Yeah.
The millionaire and his wife.
Marianne.
Right.
Marianne was just Marianne.
She's
She's just a farm girl.
Why was she there?
Why were any of them there? Why would a millionaire...
They were going on a 3-hour tour.
Why would a millionaire take a 3-hour tour on this tiny little dinghy of a boat with other people?
Yeah, that's a good point. He wanted to feel like
he has his own yacht, probably.
He wanted to feel like a normal person.
No, there's no reason.
I just never knew what Marianne was supposed to be, because Ginger's an actress.
She's a farm girl. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. I guess it's fair.
Yeah, it was a silly and stupid show.
I guess this doesn't matter, because you're not into the ladies, but are you a Ginger or a Marianne?
Like, who do I relate to? Because neither.
It's a common...
It's like, are you a Veronica or Betty?
Right.
I'm not either of those either.
So, it's a question amongst men a lot.
Yeah.
What kind of woman you're into.
Right.
A Ginger or a Marianne.
Yeah, you're a Marianne.
I'm a Marianne. It's not
obviously.
Even, yeah. You didn't ask me. You knew. Yes. And I'm not a Veronica, I'm a Betty.
Yeah.
Although I think Veronica's cuter.
Veronica is cuter.
Yeah, but it's just like, I don't want to deal with you.
Well, you're a Betty, not a Veronica, or a Veronica, not a Betty?
Betty's the blonde, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Betty.
Yeah.
But I think Veronica is cuter, because I will happily exchange that for not dealing with Veronica.
I get that.
Yeah.
I like Veronica in Riverdale.
Yeah.
Have you watched that?
No.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. I haven't seen any of it.
I'm really into fashionable teen dramas.
Yeah, I
it's
get
one
that.
of my favorite.
So Bob and Larry do a little dance for the crew that they're giving a boat tour to, but it falls really, really flat. So they take off on their 3-hour tour. This is a line from the show. Their 3-hour tour.
Yes.
Larry insists that he can take care of things as Bob goes off to do something else. And he begins to daydream about being a Russian and in a very dramatic situation about smashing into some iceberg to free some whales. Which turns out to be very real as Larry steers the entire boat directly into some rocks. Now everyone is fine because they are vegetables, and this is a kids show, but they are now stranded on a desert island. Larry does apologize to everyone, but they walk off in a huff because they're still upset with him.
Yeah.
And they are...
Deservedly so.
Yeah, I mean, he did crash a boat into an island.
This is his one job.
Don't crash.
Don't crash.
He did crash.
Yes.
So they're cross with him, but they head off to find out how they're going to survive on this island, and they build little huts. It is emphasized multiple times that they are not forgiving to Larry.
Right.
They are just upset with him.
Right.
Even though he is very authentically apologetic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. It was just that...
Why did anybody trust me?
Right. In their hammocks, Larry says, it's not so bad after all, because, hey, hammock.
Yeah.
But Bob can't bring himself to forgive Larry, despite him saying he's sorry. Being told that saying sorry isn't good enough, Larry interprets this as him not being good enough. So he decides that he has to leave. He wishes that Bob finds himself a first mate who is good enough for him, after all. And he heads off in the dead of night. It's very sad.
It is sad.
Are you sad?
A little bit.
You feel sad for Larry the Cucumber?
I miss him.
Already?
Yeah.
The next morning, the millionaires come out and they can't find Bob. And they wish harm on Larry, as he's the one who's ruined their vacation. See, that's what it was. They're on a vacation. They're taking a nice little dinghy.
No, I know. It's obviously a vacation thing. We were doing research out there. Yeah, that never made sense. Gilligan's Island never made sense for one single second, and it didn't try to. That's not the kind of show it was. I love that show.
If you're extremely rich, you have to occasionally lower yourself down to the middle class.
That's not a thing.
To make you feel like you're not isolated from regular people.
That's absolutely not true.
So I read this article recently, which is, it's not true that you have to, but it is true that they often do. There was an article I read about very rich people.
Yeah.
Like, who have lots of money.
They'll Princess Jasmine it every now and then.
They hide certain parts of their reality from people.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the specific quote, a woman who had a lot of money said, I will never tell my housekeeper that I buy bread for $4. Like, I buy $4 bread. That's what I pay for bread. It's easy for me. I will never tell her that because she will hate me. You know what
$4 I mean? Bread? That's normal.
It may have been $6 bread. But the point is, it's expensive bread.
Right.
She's like, and the bread she's buying is like $2, $3.
Right.
Then I'm paying $4, $6, and it's just like, she will fucking hate me forever.
Well, she sees her house.
It was part of it, but it was basically this idea that amongst the very rich, there's this notion that they have to seem middle class so that they won't
be hated. Yeah, okay. That doesn't make you choose to get on a dinghy.
It could.
No, it could not.
If you take it to its logical extreme.
Nope.
Rather than a regular boat, I'm getting on this little dinghy with these dumb assholes.
My own personal boat, which I probably have.
But it was just an elucidating article for me because it talked about how rich folks want to appear normal,
right,
quote unquote, without, being rich.
Right.
But they're clearly rich. And they know it, and everyone knows it.
It's the people who are wealthy but are not elitist.
Yeah, they don't want to seem like they're elitist.
Or they're not actually elitist.
They're just really rich,
they hang out and do normal things with normal people, but there's certain things you have to hide in order to fit in.
Right.
Just like poor people will hide how poor they are in order to fit in.
Similar,
with,
Yeah, it was funny. In my neighborhood, we had one poor family.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird. They were very broke. I mean, they had a house, so they weren't super broke. But I think, like, outside of that, no money.
Right.
Think, like, old Roseanne, you know?
Yeah.
Like, just like, how are we going to fucking do this?
Just blue collar.
Very blue collar. And it was unusual because I grew up middle, maybe upper middle.
Yeah.
Like, my parents had money.
Yeah.
We had a house that was brand new when we bought it.
Yeah.
We lived in a neighborhood with a bunch of people who had money.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of problems with poverty issues.
Right.
But there was just this one family right on the outside of our subdivision that was just broke.
Yeah.
Constantly. Like, they smelled bad. Broke.
Yeah. We have, they're sprinkled in. Like, where I grew up, after moving out of the city, when we moved into the suburbs, it was pretty, like, our high school was pretty split.
Yeah.
It was like half the school were in $1 million houses and half the school were in trailers.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like our entire parking lot was a mixture of happy 16th birthday Mustangs and then duct taped together pickup trucks. Yeah.
I didn't know people lived in apartments, like, with their families until I was 15.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't know people, like, I thought everyone just had a house.
Yeah.
Like I did.
Well, I was born into a townhome.
Yeah.
So it felt like that felt...
I dated a girl who lived in an apartment with her parents.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, people live in apartments with their families, their whole families.
Yeah.
Because I was only familiar with people who had houses.
Right.
Like, my family had a house.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
Well, like, we went from, like, middle class to upper middle class and back several times because of, like, just...
Fluctuations.
Just like my dad lost his job once, and there was, like, the mega church situation when they lost all of their money from that and having to, like, desperately move out.
Yeah.
Quickly, and we moved into a very small house compared to what we were used to.
Yeah.
And then my dad built us back up again, and now they're very comfortable.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go Dad.
Dad's very good with money.
Good. Go Dad. Go Hillary's dad.
Dad has a nice car because my mom made him get a nice car because he never did anything for himself.
Mm-hmm.
So as he's, like, in the last few years, he's finally gotten comfortable with also, like, letting himself have things that he really likes, like guitars. And he'll still get he'll never buy a new car.
Yeah.
He'll still get some used, but he'll trade them out and get another fancy car.
Is this the official Hillary endorsement for your dad's lifestyle?
What? Treat
yourself.
Fucking treat yourself.
Treat yourself, Dad.
Yeah, Dad, take care of you. He knows that. We tell him that all the time. Yeah. I need to treat myself less.
Turns out
I need to live beneath my means for a while. Yes. I am not good at it. I'm so bad at it.
Yeah, so I guess, like you're saying, my dad had a lot of money and is terrible at it.
Really?
To the point that now he has none.
Oh, no.
But he had money, which is why we grew up pretty comfy.
Right.
But he squandered all of it.
No.
All of it. And he doesn't have the same job anymore. He's broke as fuck.
That sucks.
So we had a very sharp turn around my late teens from being totally upper, at least middle class, to broke. All of us are broke.
Yeah.
Broke as a hail.
Yeah. My parents did a good job of making it not apparent to me and my brother, even though, like, we can pick up on things. Like, we knew shit was up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, when my parents would fight about money here and there, but, like, very quietly and in a way that wasn't obvious, but, like, I was just very intuitive. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the only reason I knew we had problems, ever. But, yeah, they hit it. Anyway, go on.
But the millionaire and his wife see Bob in a tree as he's looking for Larry. At this point, Professor comes to demonstrate a catapult that he has created that will throw them from the island and back to civilization. But as he demonstrates, he knocks Bob out of the tree with a coconut.
Yep.
That he launches out of the catapult.
I gotta know how that tomato got to the top of that palm tree, too.
That's the one mystery.
Yep, he's no hands, and he's a circle.
But the professor apologizes, and Bob forgives him because it was an accident. And Bob apologizes to the millionaires as well because he fell on their hut and he broke it. And they forgive him for the same reason. It's an accident, you didn't mean to do it, and you're sincerely apologetic. Bob comes to realize that not being forgiven for something you didn't do on purpose and are sincerely sorry for would make you feel terrible. And they all realize that they owe Larry some raw, unfiltered, hardcore forgiveness.
Why'd you make it sexy?
Because it was funny to me. They find him on a raft, sailing away from the island that he's blowing the sail with his mouth with.
So cute. Also, he built that raft.
That's true.
That's some capabilities that they don't really necessarily see in him.
But he plans to leave the island because no one likes him anymore. They call out to forgive him. So he comes back and they all apologize for being wrong and for not forgiving him in the first place. And of course, because they're apologizing, Larry forgives them. A coconut tree comes by and sings a nice song about forgiveness to close it all out.
Yeah, nice. It's kind of a reggae island song. I fucking love it.
You know that in love we can forgive.
Yeah, it sounded a little bit like the opening of Arthur.
It is the only way to live. Obey God and see that we can live in harmony.
I don't know why I can't remember the tune of that right now.
I'm not really that close, but
it sounds like the opening to Arthur.
And I say, hey, you know that in love we can forgive.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like that. It has a very similar tune and tone.
Yeah, it does.
And the guy's voice is very similar.
But they sing the song
it's the only way to live. That's it. What's the next line?
Obey God and see that we can live in harmony.
Yeah.
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 Since God has forgiven us, it's true. You forgive me, I forgive you. Gonna start to show forgiveness from my heart.
It's so good. It's so good.
But they all sing the song together. But if only there was some way to get them all back home.
Yeah.
It is at this moment that the professor reveals that he has built a flying coconut and bamboo machine. And they can all go home on it. It is a helicopter made out of coconut trees and bamboo.
Do vegetables eat vegetables?
I guess coconut's a fruit, right?
Yeah. So it's a tomato.
Yeah, but... Oh, right. Oh, shit.
Yeah, Bob's in trouble.
Bob's in trouble.
I love the idea of them, starting to see each other as other foods. Like the old cartoon.
That would be great. You need to write for the new VeggieTales just for the one scene where Bob the tomato becomes
Bob starts seeing Larry as a hot dog.
This is good.
But he's like, I don't eat meat.
Larry and Bob agree that next time they're just going to sell lemonade instead of this boat stuff. And the forgiveness song continues as the story ends. And we're back to Larry and Bob for one final segment. And it's the takeaway of this episode. It's easier to forgive others when we remember that God always forgives us, no matter what. Also, everyone else makes mistakes sometimes, and when we forgive each other, we all feel better. Mm-hmm. And now we're on to Cordy, who shares a Bible verse. Forgive others as God forgave you. And then the episode is over, as here we hear the Grapes of Wrath once more singing their Grapes of Wrath song.
Yeah, that's why they choose that one. All the other songs in this episode were better. Yeah. So,
it's time for any final thoughts you might have. Anything you want to say?
I want to watch more. We're going to have to do their full-length movie.
Absolutely.
I saw it in theaters when it came out. I don't even think I was Christian at the time. It was post-Christian.
You just wanted to see it?
I just love it, yeah. And it was characters that I like a lot, which are the pirates who don't do anything.
Yeah.
So just lazy pirates.
The biggest motivation for starting at the very beginning of VeggieTales is theoretically we could do all of them.
We could do all of it. Actually, we'd like to inform you, our listeners, that we are now changing the entirety of our podcast. And this is now a VeggieTales-centric podcast. Welcome to VeggieTales Love.
VeggieTales Love, the show.
Podcast, yeah. VeggieTales forever.
Forever. I was at work and people were talking about doing VeggieTales. You might not have been there quite yet.
I was there when we were all talking about VeggieTales.
Okay, so yes, they're like, you're going to do VeggieTales, and we're actually doing it in 2 days.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. And then we talked about the difference between the old VeggieTales and the new VeggieTales.
Right, I didn't know there was a new VeggieTales, but apparently the new VeggieTales is not good.
It's not as religious.
I've seen pictures of it, and they have irises now, and I don't like that. They should just have pupils.
Yeah.
No iris necessary.
Yeah, but apparently it was less ham-handed about the religion.
Yeah.
Because you remember I was told a story about just watching the show and it's cute and it's about vegetables, and then all of a sudden it's God stuff and I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Whereas these 2 episodes, if they're indicative of the series,
yeah,
they start hardcore. It's
Yeah.
about God from the beginning.
Yes, but
So I
in a
get
really
that.
cute, fun way, and like
Right. I did not find it obnoxious or anything.
no, and it didn't feel like an indoctrination like a lot of these things do feel like
That's
a
true.
little bit.
Yeah, but like in the same sense that teaching your kids anything is technically indoctrination.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, teaching kids facts is one thing. making them think that there's no other way to live than to believe this one thing.
But see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
For these people who are wrong,
Yeah,
it is a fact.
you're right.
They are wrong, but they think it's real.
It's true.
So it's not any more indoctrination than teaching your kids that dinosaurs are a real thing that did exist. Which
No,
my
because that
dad
can be
told me.
proved.
My dad told me dinosaurs were not real when I was young.
Are you serious?
This is a serious story.
Oh no!
I liked dinosaurs. It was my thing I was interested
There are
in.
people who really think that dragons were real.
Yeah,
They think they were real.
I know.
I wish I believed in something like that. What a beautiful, magical world.
But
they
when I
live
was
in.
about 5 and learning to read,
Yeah.
the only books I would read were dinosaur books because I love dinosaurs. I thought they were fucking awesome. They
Yeah.
still are.
No, every kid goes through a dinosaur phase. Yeah.
But my dad at one point told me, dinosaurs are not real.
Does he still believe that?
I presume.
God.
Now, to be fair, I was 5 years old, and I was like, oh, this is the moment when I realized that I'm smarter than my dad. Okay.
Oh, so you never believed him?
No, I never believed
good.
him.
Very good.
But he did believe
Right.
that dinosaurs were not real.
Right.
I just was not stupid enough to believe him.
God. Pictures like this, like pictures of Jesus riding a dinosaur is one of my favorite. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
That's so good. Like the Creationist Museum, which we need to do a live episode from.
Oh, absolutely. We just
Yeah.
have to get to Kentucky.
Yeah, I was up there when we went to Dollywood
Yeah.
a summer or two ago, whenever that was.
Yeah.
We were supposed to go there, but I'm like, I just could not give them money. I couldn't. Like, I could not pay money to go in.
That's true.
And I also knew that we would just be laughing hysterically. And I don't intend to go to something like that to make fun of everybody there. Like that, I'm genuinely curious about it, and I want to know what it's saying. But I don't want to go there and like just be like an asshole, like mocking.
But also, how
people.
could you not?
But yeah, it'll have to be completely internalized, and it'll probably give me cancer. Like holding that in will give me cancer.
All right, so
Then
what's...
we'll both have cancer.
Well, I don't have
You
it.
have it.
So what's the best and what's the worst?
Not necessary. Everything's great.
Everything's great.
Unnecessary.
Worst was the Grapes of Wrath song.
Yeah. And
But honestly,
was
it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. No.
It was like, whatever, this is fine.
Yeah.
The best is the theme song. I love it.
I love the thing. I'm so I love that you love
the
it.
If You Want to Talk to Tomato song, not the VeggieTales.
Well, that's the whole song.
Yeah, but like that one, it's fine, but it's not the same song.
It is. It's all the same song. It's all the opening.
I know, but it doesn't have the same cadence. Like, it's clearly a different song.
Yeah, but then no,
That's all.
It's not a different song. It's literally the same song.
It's part of the same song. I get that.
Yeah.
It's just like they are two different songs in the sense that like a song generally has one rhythm and tune.
Not true at all.
Generally, if I said generally.
A lot of music has
Yeah, you're right.
It
Okay.
does key changes and pacing changes.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
Yeah, remember that one that one of my least favorite songs ever is Band on the Run
Oh,
by
whatever.
it's Wings. Stupid Paul McCartney, stupid side band,
Mm-hmm.
post Beatles band.
Mm-hmm.
It starts out as one completely different sounding song, and I'm like, oh, I like this song, and then it switches to Band on the Run. I'm like, oh fuck, it got me again. You tricked me.
You tricked me.
Fuck.
Okay, fine. The whole intro is good. To be fair, the VeggieTales part of it is still fine. It's just not as good as the If You Like to Talk
And it just kind of builds up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like a little march.
So that's my best and that's my worst.
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 Yeah.
Next.
Yay!
Hillary, what are we doing next week?
Let's see.
Remember, next week, following this episode, we're finally going to do our God's Not Dead episode. And remember, we will follow up the God's Not Dead episode with God's Not Dead 2. And then we'll be right back in our rhythm. Sorry for the mix-up, but thanks for giving us the time we need.
Bye.
Bye.